example of automated pricing. So here you can see the number of times the price changes between a certain time is completely dynamic, completely automated, and it can happen at any times during a day. Many days we have the prices for a particular room type change as many as 10-20 times a day. We'll come to the reasons about how these prices are getting changed. But before we do that, let me just show you this in action. So this is a screen that is similar to what you would call a traditional channel management screen. On the x-axis, you see the dates as well as the days. You have the total available rooms. On the y-axis, you have each of the rooms along with the rate plans of each of these rooms. As you see, the rate or the price for each room type at a particular time is completely dynamic, and these prices change any number of times during a day. So we could be logging here exactly 10 minutes from now, and some of these prices would have changed by themselves. At any time, we can keep the system on a fully automated mode, or we can decide to override these prices. So for whatever reason, I realized that I don't want to sell this room for this price and I want to sell it at a different price. I can just change the price and I can hit publish, and the prices would be overridden for any particular day. So while we believe that automated pricing should be practiced for maximum amount of time, we do believe that 10 to 15% of the cases you may need to override the price because of conditions that a system, an automated intelligent system, cannot possibly understand. So this is the automated pricing. Let us jump to the back end to figure out how these prices are getting calculated, right? So there are many technical parameters here that I will cover. And so the first of these parameters is an occupancy-based pricing. So here on the x-axis, we have the total number of rooms. For this particular hotel, we have 40 rooms. On the y-axis, we have the total prices. So the key idea being that every room should be sold at a different price. As the number of rooms increase, the price keeps on increasing. We can actually set this graph up however we want. So some hotels may have a much steeper graph and some may have a much flatter graph. That will depend on the context of the hotel as well as the market that we operate in. This is the occupancy-based pricing, which is the core pricing methodology for the algorithm. However, there are many other factors that we add to the pricing calculation, and let me just clarify that all these factors work together with each other using some kind of artificial intelligence and machine learning to decide the best price that a room should be sold at. So the next factor that we come in is called a lead time or a day-wise factor. So here what we see is the number of days during which the price of a particular hotel is kept truly dynamic. So in this case, because this is a business hotel, we have defined 45 days, which means from today till 45 days from now, every day the price of the room will be fully dynamic, which means it can be completely automated. And we can set this booking window to as high as we want. In some hotels, we even set it for 365 days, which means that every day of the year, the rates are fully dynamic. Here, what we see is the scaling factor of rates. So the farther we are on day 35, 1.25 means we scale the rate up by 25%. As we come closer and closer to day one, the price reduces. So we can systematically lower the price little by little until we hit the last day. So this is the lead time and day-wise factor. We also have a last-minute time-based factor. This is typically done for hotels that pretty much sell between 24 to 48 hours. A lot of hotels have started selling rooms within the last 48 hours. So we can define either a today or a tomorrow as a factor, and we can say that at certain time points, so here in this case, we have specified time triggers at 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., and so on. So every 2 hours, depending on a certain occupancy percentage of the hotel, we want the price to keep scaling down by 2% every 2 hours. Now these are configurable, so we can define the logic however we want, and we can want these prices to either go up or to go down depending on time-based triggers, either for a 24-hour window or for a 48-hour window. So that was the time-based factor. The next factor we have is a weekday-based factor. So every day of the week can have a different demand. So here you'll see, because this is a business hotel, the Tuesdays and Wednesdays have a much higher demand. So we set up the price for Tuesday for 7% and on Wednesday for 5%. But for a Sunday, we scale it down by 10% because of lower occupancy. So each day of the week, the pricing can be scaled either up or down. Then what we have is something called a season or a date-wise factor. This factor can be used to scale the price up or down depending on particular date ranges. This could be done for a full season. Like in this case, we have done it for the May season due to the COVID crisis. But it could be done for long weekends. It could be done for a complete season. It could be done for New Year's or whatever time. And we can define a particular season based on dates and decide that the price would either scale up or down depending on the behavior of that season. We can also specify minimum and maximum rates. These rates can be specified either for the base rate or the lowest room category, or we can specify a complete rate plan wise minimum or maximum. So we can decide that each rate plan can have a minimum value or a maximum value. We can decide these at an overall level, and we can also decide the minimum and maximum rates from a date wise perspective. So we can decide for a particular date range, like 10th of May to 15th of May, we want the price to have the rooms to have this much minimum and this much maximum. So this minimum and maximum can be done overall or for a date range value also. The next factor that I'm going to talk about is the overall demand scale. Now the overall demand scale can be used to either scale all the prices up by a certain amount or down by a certain amount without changing the individual parameters that we just discussed about. So this is how we can actually increase the ARR of a particular hotel or decrease the ARR of a particular hotel. We also have something called an inventory reallocation. An inventory reallocation is a very important tactic that is currently used because we try to oversell more rooms of the lower category while try to minimize the inventory that we put on the higher category in order to overbook our lower category rooms and then auto upgrade those guests as they check in. So this percentages can be defined up front so that this entire overbooking of lower category rooms can be done in a truly automated manner. This can be done for each room type, or we can even decide that one particular room type we want to keep away from this automatic inventory reallocation. So all of these factors, as you've seen, then determine these prices that you see here. And as we say, these rates are fully dynamic. They can change any number of times. So here we've covered automated pricing in a quick nutshell.